York. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
We're talking greatest MCs of all time. Rosenberg put out a list last week on his Twitter. Top 10, subject to change. It was top 10 in the moment. You guys know how your top picks always change, especially with this music thing. If you're making lists or debating lists and greatest of all time. I had a serious conversation about what Jay-Z is doing right now. And it was brought to my attention that Jay-Z and Rakim are the same age. Not a knock on Rakim, but actually a salute to Hov at 48 years old. We have never, like, our brains can't even wrap around what we're watching historically in hip-hop right now with regard to a 48-year-old with 3 kids and a wife doing hip-hop shows in football stadiums. And then when you get into the whole, which is, maybe Laura Stiles could articulate the Louvre because she likes art and she understands. I didn't know the significance of Beyonce and Jay-Z taking over the greatest museum on earth and shooting a music video and having in the music video a black woman braiding another black man's hair in front of the Mona Lisa. Like the art, like the living art of like two descendants of slaves hair braiding as free black people in the Louvre in front of one of the most famous
I didn't know that.
paintings of all time.
I didn't think about it that deeply until you just said it.
Especially when you notice that most of the statues have their nose cut off.
Bro.
So that, and then it was pointed out to me that in the Louvre in Paris, there are no pictures of free black people. There's one picture of a free black woman in there, and she's just free. There's no black royalty. There's no black African nothing in the entire museum, in a museum where artifacts are stolen from Africa in the museum.
Yeah, well, we don't know that. Regular people don't know that.
I didn't know this.
Which does change the way people view Jay-Z because we don't all understand. To your point, we've never seen this before. We've never seen a hip-hop person age into greatness. And then Jay-Z's not even the same. I always make the comparison to like Springsteen or one of those people. But Springsteen, while wildly successful as Bruce Springsteen is, he wasn't on his way to becoming a billionaire, right? Like he's a really successful musician. Jay-Z is a completely different thing. So we don't even know how to contextualize Jay's greatness overall. However, that is all separate, in my opinion, from just the MC list. Because Hov's the greatest rap person ever in terms of his overall success.
So you still don't think Jay-Z's the greatest MC of all time?
Pure MC? We're talking about just grab a mic and a turntable and he raps. Like, that's the thing. What do we mean? Is he the best at that? Is he better
He's
than
still the sharpest. He's still the sharpest.
Like taking away all of the accolades?
Everything you put him, if you just said raw moment, here's a beat, rap, and you put, I'm just throwing this for example. Him and Eminem
would be the standards right now. I think Eminem is still sharp, and I think Jay is still sharp right now.
And you don't think, if we're being honest, and again, for this conversation, and I don't care what anyone says about me, you think Kendrick pulls up a seat? You don't think he outraps both of them at this moment?
Maybe. He might.
So, that doesn't make Kendrick greater historically than them. But when you're talking about best, that's what makes it so interesting and fun. And that's why I put Rakim.
Well, we said greatest MC of all time, not best. We said greatest, because you're the one, you point out the difference between great and best.
True. When it comes to greatest hip-hop person, it's Jay-Z.
Right, greatest rapper
When it comes to greatest rapper, he's in that conversation right in the top 3 or 4. And like sometimes, I think Nas can be a better rapper than Jay, but Jay's career makes Nas's look like, frankly, a disappointment.
But do you put that in
terms of success?
In this argument, though, because I thought we were taking all the accolades away, just specifically the skill of rapping.
Yeah. I think throwing on a beat and rapping. We don't get to see Jay, but something tells me that if you threw on a beat and was like, yo, let's get to it, I think Jay-Z is still one of the best.
Me too. And so is Nas.
At 48 years old, at the same age as Rakim. Think about that.
That's incredible. That part's crazy.
That's the piece of it where you're like, yo, if you would have thrown a beat right now,
Would Rakim be able to still do it the way Hove could do it?
Just go.
Because they're the same age. And so what, Nas is 6 years younger or something?
I don't know.
6 or
About.
7 years younger? And then Eminem's in the middle, I think? Yeah, you're right. I mean, listen, if they battled right now, Jay would beat Rakim, you would think.
Jay's performing every night.
Yeah.
He just put out a new album that he wrote. His wife's parts he wrote.
I mean, he got out-rapped by his wife on the album. But besides that, I mean,
But he wrote those parts.
some of them. But, no, I hear you. Listen, it's a fun argument. He's the GOAT, man. I mean, Jay-Z is Jay-Z. He almost has his own category.
So now he puts out another album. Because I think that like, I don't see him not putting out another album.
Why would he stop putting it?
Yeah.
Everyone always says that. Why is he going to stop?
I mean,
He's an artist. He's going to keep making art, right? Everyone holds him to this standard of like each one has to be a classic. Let me explain something. When you get to the level that Jay-Z's at, you may stumble into another classic, but more likely what you do is make these albums, and from each album you pull off one or two songs that get added to the concert list. That's it. If you go look at the other other artists who lasted forever, the Rolling Stones, their albums that come out in the 80s have one song people love, and
Right.
they add it to their concerts to keep it
I
moving.
think that's why when I was having this debate, our ability to understand what we're seeing in real time, and this it goes with everything that's happening. What's happening with the president and immigration, what's happening in music, right? We're living in history real time. And it's hard to digest how the magnitude in real time. We haven't been able to romanticize it the way we romanticize things of the past, right? When we look at a Pac, we look at a Big, we lived in that moment of Rakim and KRS.
All
right?
these things were blips in time, by the way, compared to how long Hove's been doing it. Blips. Nothing. Rakim's run of absolute reign of hip-hop was basically 86 and over by Know the Ledge, which is 91 or something.
yeah.
Right.
5 years.
But it was so impactful.
So impactful.
Well, it changed everything. It changed
And it
everything.
changed everything.
It changed everything.
And Biggie died at 24 years old. He'd only been out for 5 years total from the mixtape scene all the way to the end. Hove's been doing this. Hove's been on top for nearly 20.
Right.
It's totally, you're right. How do you process things
Hov
you've never
was
seen?
in a freestyle with Big Daddy Kane.
Yep. Hov was running around with Kane.
Yes.
Hov was Kane's man.
I think the story goes
Hov
like
was Big L's man. He was the rapper. Hov had a period of his life where he was doing his own thing in the streets, but from a music standpoint, was different people's mans because he was just trying to get the. He was Jazzo's man. He was Kane's man. He was Big
cool
L's
with
man.
everybody. I'm cool with everybody.
man.
He was Biggie's man. 4 different people that you could think of off the top of your head that he was just the guy next to the guy who was really, and everyone knew he was nice. In that freestyle, Big L goes, yo, this is my man Jay-Z. Like, Big L thought he was nice, but he kept grinding. He had that period. That's now a blip 25, 30 years ago. It's an amazing story we've never processed before.
And we don't hear from Jay like that. I think that's the other part that makes it hard for people is there's nobody like, telling Jay's story,
By the way, if you go on YouTube, you can still search the Jay-Z One Epstein.
which goes into this.
It's like, but that's one of the only times I've ever heard him really dig through every little moment. Because you're right, he doesn't do it a lot. There's more.
The last time we heard it was in the Stretch and Bob documentary.
Yeah,
And it wasn't that deep. He dug a little bit because he was definitely reminiscent off some cassette tapes and a Walkman.
right.
But that's really about
But
it.
little bits and pieces, you don't get it all.
It's interesting.
It's amazing.
It was a heated debate I had over the weekend. Or let's call it a combo. It wasn't really the debate. I just didn't even realize that Jay and Rakim were the same age. That struck me. Then the whole Louvre combo of that video they have, Ape-ish, I was like, I don't go to the Louvre. I never wanted to go because I had heard that they have a lot of stolen African stuff there and no black people. Why do I want to go there?
Yo, Ibra, how about the conversation I had on Saturday night with my man, Quarterman, who's from Brooklyn. Hip-hop head from Brooklyn, but he's been in Maryland now for 20 years. Went to college there, stayed there. Me, him, my brother, my boy Marshall, we're all sitting around talking about hip-hop. And Ether and Takeover came up. And everyone at this table is like, prefers Takeover. And I'm like, Q, you've been away from New York a long time. Everyone in New York, basically, is an Ether person, which I've always found absurd. I mean,
Well, it's too. See, I've always gotten into this convo, right?
I don't think
Where's
so.
this? Where's
it's absurd.
this?
It's absurd.
it's
it's
not.
not even close.
There's a lot
The
of
Ether's
to
not
you.
good, guys. It's
To
not
you.
good.
No.
I don't.
To you.
Of
No,
course,
you're saying
to
it wrong,
you.
but you guys are
Personal
saying it
opinion.
wrong. You're
You're
saying
wilding
it
for
wrong.
that. You guys are-
Ether bodied Hove.
Facts.
As songs go, when you listen to them now, right? Takeover is a better song.
It's not even close that it's a better song.
No, but I'm agreeing with you.
But that's not how we rate battles.
But that's not.
who
It
got
wasn't.
bodied?
Nas! Jay-Z's the king.
No,
He's the
no.
No,
king.
I'm saying not in,
About
the, not
that
in that battle.
specific
Not in that
battle.
battle.
I
in
disagree.
the war.
I
in the war,
disagree.
Jay
In the
wins.
war,
Yes.
Jay wins.
In the battle, Nas won. Ether won.
But I got to tell you, if that won, it's a testament to the fact that when people listen, they don't pay attention to the right things. They just hear loud insults and go, ooh.
yeah,
That's what a
That's what the battle
But
is.
I mean, be cerebral. Jay says stuff that meant way more.
It was too inside.
Like
It-
what?
The
And,
battle
and
was,
by the way, remember, Takeover dealt with three different, two. Dealt with Nas and Mob. It dealt with
Maybe
two.
someone. Is anyone else? Yeah, at least
It was
at least
Nas
those.
and Mob, right? He dealt with two things, which in my opinion is like, oh, he took on two opponents in one song. That was a phenomenal song. Ether was just that Jay, so it was more direct. And Nas peeled him apart. You know, you said cerebral. Nas definitely got at his psychology a little bit.
Nas also got things just factually wrong on the song.
Well, yeah, I mean, come on. But that's in retrospect. At the time, you didn't know
Shawnee,
that.
I'm sorry. And I'll tell Ron Browse, I've told Ron Browse, who's a great talent many times, that beat, if y'all played that
But
beat
Ether,
right now.
Ether won.
Ether won, bro.
And, I mean, listen.
Ether one, bro.
By the way, you guys,
change
you
history,
guys
bro.
could all, you guys could all
can't
have
change
your,
history, bro.
no, you guys all have your
Stop
ether
trying to
party.
shout each other
Have
down.
Your, yeah, have
Stop
your
trying to shout
ether,
each other
have
down.
your ether party. The problem is Nas doesn't even perform Ether. Does Jay-Z perform Takeover?
No.
Oh, yes, he does. I forgot because he
Really?
won. Yes, he does.
he doesn't.
Not really. And
I've seen
As
it.
God is my witness,
seen
I've
Nas
seen
perform
Jay-Z
Ether
perform
before.
Takeover. No, I'm not going to get shouted down. Jay-Z performs Takeover at venues with 20,000 people singing along. Nas doesn't even perform Ether.
But I mean, that's
Jay does
cool.
it
Why doesn't he
sometimes,
perform
huh?
it?
Hey, Rosenberg, I like
What?
Takeover way better than Ether.
No, I know you're just trolling me. I'm
No,
aware of
I'm
it.
dead serious. But Ether won. And no, honestly, and I
Just
love
don't get what that
Takeover.
means. I just don't understand what a victory is then. A victory has a funny look.
No, it's in the moment. It's a momentary
In the
thing,
moment.
but yet in a battle, it's who got the crowd in the moment.
And you know what? The
It's who got the crowd in the moment.
So
It's
you were
like
winning
a-
at the end of the first
the
quarter?
part. No, hold on. The part
No, it's
that,
who got the crowd in the moment.
the part
Like,
that
this
people
is-
forget is that Jay kind of bodied himself for Super Ugly. So that's what happened.
Well, I choose to forget that part, okay?
See, there you go. That's what happened.
all that yelling for that, really?
Well, no,
Damn.
because
Come
that point,
on.
at that
All
point
right,
it was
enough.
silly.
That's
enough.
what happened.
Enough.